Welcome into week 3 of the Victory Road League here between the Los Angeles Nidokings and the Pittsburgh Scizors. We have two teams that are coming in at 2-0 and atop of the league as contenders right away. Los Angeles bringing in Tyranitar, Garchomp, Talonflame, Lycanroc, Sinistcha, and Rotom Wash. Pittsburgh rocking the same team that they've rocked the same first 2 weeks here in the league. Garchomp, Charizard, Sylveon, Scizor, Torkoal, and Farigiraf. Super exciting matchups ahead of us here in week 3, and we are underway between possibly a playoff matchup here early on in the Victory Road League. Los Angeles coming into week 3 tied for second with 23 points. Pittsburgh coming in third in the league with a total of 20 points. And there is, for Los Angeles, the start with the Tyranitar and the Talonflame setting up the Sandstorm. For Pittsburgh, they're going to lead off with the Garchomp and the Scizor. In both of these teams, as I was looking and sitting down with my notes coming into today's matchups, a potential 3-match setup, and there is a Tyranitar with the Protect right away. Garchomp gonna use a Rock Slide, is not gonna hit the Tyranitar, is gonna hit that Talonflame, and that is a one-hit KO. Pittsburgh with a point already here early on. The Scizor gonna use Close Combat, will not hit due to the Protect. Los Angeles taking a suffering L very early here within this match. They bring out their own Garchomp. So we already have a point to Pittsburgh here within the first couple of minutes between these two teams. Pittsburgh going to withdraw their very own Garchomp. They're going to send in their Farigiraf. Remember that sand is up. Los Angeles going to withdraw their Tyranitar. They're going to send in their Rotom Wash. Scizor is going to use Protect here. And there's a substitute from the Garchomp on Los Angeles' side. There's going to be some minor damage due to the Sandstorm. But that leftovers for the Rotom Wash on Los Angeles' side, gonna pick it right back up. So right away, Los Angeles getting into more of a defensive mode here. Scizor going to be withdrawn for Pittsburgh. They're gonna send back out their Garchomp. And there goes the Earthquake, is not going to affect the Rotom Wash. How much does this do to both Pokemon on Pittsburgh's side? It does a decent amount, almost half on both. The Will-O-Wisp from the Rotom is going to hit the Garchomp, so there is a burn early for Los Angeles. Los Angeles, one of the more surprising teams here to start the first couple weeks, and the Trick Room from Pittsburgh's side. Pittsburgh, of course, has been known for running the same team so far through the first, now so far, 3 weeks of the season. But nonetheless, and there's that burn damage that's going to hit Garchomp now every turn. Los Angeles trying to pull themselves back in with some momentum, but that Trick Room is now set up on Pittsburgh's side. They're going to withdraw the Garchomp to try to forsake that burn damage, and here comes the Sylveon, a Farigiraf Protection for Pittsburgh. And there is a protection for the Rotom as well on Los Angeles' end. And there's a Dragon Claw, is not going to affect the Sylveon, but that Sandstorm damage will. And that triggers Farigiraf's Citrus Berry due to the Sandstorm. So if you are Los Angeles, you are looking at that as a positive here within the first couple minutes of this match. Trick Room still has 3 turns. Sandstorm just a turn left here. Both of these squads have to be thinking, what is the best possible move? Pittsburgh doing a lot of substitution and subbing Pokemon in and out of this lineup, but now all four Pokemon that they've brought into this first match have been revealed. Of course, for Los Angeles' end, all four Pokemon have been revealed by force due to that Talonflame. And there comes the helping hand from the Farigiraf to help out that Sylveon. Protect is going to go on Rotom, but it's going to fail. Here comes a Hyper Voice on to the Garchomp. What a play. And that's going to do over half damage for the Rotom Wash. So some possible misclicks, but that is another point here in this match for Pittsburgh. That Sandstorm gonna kick right back up. Los Angeles a little bit in a pickle here due to that Hyper Voice going through straight through that substitution for the Garchomp. Trick Room still has 2 turns remaining. Reminder, folks, that both of these squads are 2-0 so far through this first set. 2 points to Pittsburgh. Los Angeles, even if you do not win this match, you want to try to pick up some points where you can. That is probably the most important part here. And there's the Tyranitar right for Tyranitar to Mega Evolve here. It's gonna use Helping Hand of the Farigiraf on Pittsburgh's end for the Sylveon. Here comes that Hyper Voice. It is going to knock out the Rotom. All that remains for Los Angeles here in this first match is the Mega Tyranitar. It's not going to do too well. Here comes a Rock Slide. It's going to do almost half on the Sylveon and almost half, or a little over half on the Farigiraf. But due to that Trick Room being set up, Tyranitar is not going to be fast enough here in this situation to outspeed both Sylveon and Farigiraf. And it's looking like possibly here within this first set that Pittsburgh is going to win this first set of our best of 3. And here comes that Hyper Voice, and it is a clean sweep. 4 straight points for the Pittsburgh Scizors here in this first set between these 2 undefeated squads. All right, as we head into the second matchup of our best of 3, both squads bringing in the same matchups from the first set. Full momentum onto Pittsburgh's side. Of course, this has been the same team they've ran all season throughout their first couple of matches here. And of course, on the end of Los Angeles, they're going to try to bring in the same team from the first set. Can they push this to a game 3? Incoming the Garchomp and Scizor for the Pittsburgh side. And here comes Tyranitar and Sinistcha on Los Angeles side. You have to think in this moment, obviously Los Angeles, you want to take this to an extended game 3. And if you're Los Angeles, even if you somehow lose here, try to pick up some sort of points very quickly, because there are a ton of teams in this league that are getting very close, even with some of the undefeated and top pointed teams. And there goes a Drought instead of the Sandstorm, and the Protect is gonna come out for Tyranitar. And there comes a Swords Dance, which is very dangerous on the Scizor for Pittsburgh. There's a +1 on the attack, but here comes the Trick Room on Sinistcha's side. We shall see what is the mindset coming in here for Los Angeles. What is their possible thought process here? Pittsburgh instantly getting rid of the Sandstorm, setting up the Drought. So there are now 4 turns of Harsh Sunlight and 4 turns of Trick Room. And there's the Tyranitar from Los Angeles right here, right now. And there comes out the Mega Tyranitar, picking back up that sand. And here comes Rage Powder from the Sinistcha, which is going to become the center of attention on the field. Bullet Punch, gonna be going to the Sinistcha. More than likely was for the Tyranitar. And there's the Citrus Berry kick in for the Sinistcha. And there is another point for Pittsburgh, knocking out the Sinistcha. Obviously not super effective. But here comes a Rock Slide on to the Torkoal, and Scizor, a critical hit and super effective on the Torkoal. Los Angeles now down a Pokemon here in this the second set of a best of 3. They're gonna send out their own Garchomp here. And you gotta think, what is Pittsburgh's plan? Both of your basically leading Mons very low here. You're in a decent spot. You've already picked up, for sure, 6 points. But you gotta think, what is possible here, as Los Angeles has to come out a little hungry and a lot more aggressive here. Alright, and there is the protection from the Mega Tyranitar for Los Angeles' side. A protection on Pittsburgh's end for their Scizor. And here comes Scorching Sands. And their Garchomp is going to avoid the attack. Here comes an Earthquake. The protection on the Tyranitar. Protection on the Scizor. And there is a first point for the Los Angeles Nidokings here, knocking out the Torkoal. What a play from Los Angeles' end. That's got to feel good on Los Angeles' end as they try to extend this to a game 3 to try to keep their season undefeated. And here comes Sylveon for Pittsburgh. Obviously super effective against both of these Mons out here for Los Angeles' end. We still have 3 more turns of Sandstorm remaining and 2 Trick Room turns that remain on Los Angeles' side that they have set up. Pittsburgh having to be smart here, already having a huge lead here. You're trying to go for the sweep, not having to push this to a game 3. The withdrawn Mega Tyranitar for Los Angeles. They're going to send in their Rotom Wash form. And there comes a protection on the Garchomp. More than likely from Pittsburgh's Sylveon, and the Bullet Punch onto the Rotom. Mostly ineffective. And here comes a Hyper Voice from that Sylveon from Pittsburgh. Does over half, is going to kick in that citrus, or there was no Citrus Berry actually on this Rotom, but that leftovers is going to kick in for Los Angeles' end. Of course, Pittsburgh here walking into this matchup 2-0 with 20 points on the season. Los Angeles also coming in at 2-0 with 23 points on the season. And here comes a Bullet Punch to the Garchomp. Does over 3/4. Here comes a Hyper Voice. The Garchomp is going to avoid the attack, but it's enough to knock out the Rotom. So another point to Pittsburgh. Here comes Earthquake. Not enough to take out the Scizor. And that Sandstorm is going to continue to hit the Sylveon. Los Angeles down to its last legs with Garchomp and Mega Tyranitar on the field. A very interesting choice from both of these teams. Los Angeles seeming to come into this match a little shaken up. A couple of misclicks have seemed to have happened, and not the smartest leadoffs. Potentially you think about, you should have possibly brought in a different team here for this second match. Pittsburgh somehow through 2 weeks picking up good wins, picking up good match points, using the same team over and over. which in my opinion has been very impressive on Pittsburgh's end. There goes the protection on the Scizor. Sylveon also going to protect itself with a Detect. And there goes the Earthquake. Is not going to work on either Mon here on the field. It is going to hit their own Tyranitar. Los Angeles slowly falling apart. Of course, they try to use Rock Slide here. And it's not going to be able to hit the Sylveon or the Scizor. That Sandstorm is going to subside finally for Pittsburgh's sake. All Pittsburgh needs is two more Pokemon knocked out, and they are successful here in week 3. And there is the protection. Here comes a Bullet Punch to the Garchomp. It's gonna be enough. All that remains and stands in the way of Pittsburgh starting off 3-0 is this Tyranitar. And I just, as the commentator, I have to sit here and think maybe they just weren't prepared for what Pittsburgh was going to bring, even with bringing in the same team week in and week out. And here comes a Bullet Punch onto the Tyranitar. That is it, folks. Pittsburgh is your winner here, picking up a total of 10 points. They move themselves to 3-0 with 30 points. Los Angeles gets its first loss, moving down to 2-1, only picking up 1 point, moving themselves to 24 points. All right, folks, we have the head coach of the Pittsburgh Scizors all around the world, aka Steven. Steven, I just have to say congratulations on remaining undefeated, picking up 10 points. I gotta ask, how are you doing it with just the same team week in and week out?
I mean, I guess if anything, I have a lot of consistency and a really good understanding of my team since it's the same team I'm using.
For sure, for sure. I mean, I'm very impressed, and I gotta say, it's probably one of the more, I would say, bigger storylines I'd say that the league has to pay attention to when they have to play you, from here on out. I will say, who would you name your MVP there, in that matchup against Los Angeles?
It would definitely overall be Sylveon, but in the second game, without trying to be too funny, his Sinistra for setting up the Trick Room for my Torkoal.
For sure.
I don't know how I predicted that was going to happen, but I knew it was going to happen.
For sure.
And it worked out very well for that second match. I don't think he knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. What was your mindset coming in here into week 3 against Los Angeles? Did you study their team a little bit, or were you just coming in blind, hoping that this team that you've been rocking with for 3 straight weeks would pull out the W?
Complete transparency. I did watch his matches to see his teams.
For sure.
And the first match went exactly how I thought it would almost.
Okay.
Except when I was thinking about it, I thought if I used his team and I used my team, I would have an easier time beating my team with his team than the other way around. So I really thought I was at a disadvantage. And his setups were just a little different than I thought they were, than like the basic meta setups, I guess. So
for sure,
I ended up being able to take advantage of that.
Definitely. Well, your week 4 matchup is against the Toronto Star Raptors. I'm definitely intrigued to see how that match goes, because the success that you've had using the same team, and you as the person behind it, you have a lot of synergy. You've created a lot of synergy within your Mons. So I'm definitely intrigued to watch that matchup. I'm very intrigued as you continue to stay undefeated. And I just have to say congratulations, and we'll see you in week 4.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Sure. All right, folks, that is the head coach of the Pittsburgh Scizors here, getting their 3-0 start, picking up 10 more points and pushing themselves to 30 points on the season. so far. They've basically picked up 10 points per week, and they're staying with some consistency. As we